Bidstruct shortens the pre-sales process from days to minutes, reduces risk, and improves software quality. Are you sometimes not responding to an RFP because the cost to bid is too high compared to the chances of winning? Are you working with dozens of suppliers, thousands of products and order guides? Do you frequently face a bottleneck with your pre-sales team? Is your sales training a significant cost? To bid or not to bid is no longer the question. Here's how. Start with the Bidstruct configurator. Let's assume you're in the business of deploying call center infrastructure. Your sales will input the number of call center agents, number of IVR ports, and whether the client wants to have voice recording as part of his solution or not. With Bidstruct, you can create your own dynamic configurator to be filled by the pre-sales or the client himself through a web interface. Answers to this configurator are then used as inputs to the offer creation. Alternatively, you can start by importing a request for proposal in a format as defined by your client. This can be an Excel file or insertions to be done at specific places in the Word document provided by the client. Your client gave you this purple RFP, of which we picked 3 questions. Once imported, these questions can be tagged so that multiple specialists can work in parallel on the online questionnaire. For example, the yellow topics will be answered by specialists in the yellow field, blue topics by blue specialists. Each new answer per topic is being added to your knowledge base, and your specialists can use and insert past comments from the knowledge base. While responding to the questionnaire, your pre-sales can select which products are required to satisfy each requirement. This is actually nothing else than an indirect way of working with the configurator. Bidstruct is multilingual. For example, if you receive the RFP in French, you can translate this to English by a translator within Bidstruct, and then your specialists would be able to answer these questions in their own language. Now, whether you start with a questionnaire or with an RFP, the result is the same, a fully configured system. At this point, we have all information that is required to generate a full-blown offer. Based on this information, Bidstruct generates a detailed bill of quantity that can be analyzed along various dimensions, such as one-time versus annual fees, grouped by supplier, or grouped by category. You can, of course, do mini drill downs, export these lists to your vendor's order tools or to your accounting tool. Bidstruct also constructs a word write-out based on your document template, adding automatically the right text elements for that particular in the right language and replaces any occurrence of predefined fields such as the client name or project name as well as logos. Similarly, it prepares a PowerPoint presentation. A project plan is generated that will include the right tasks, calculate task duration, and will assign them to the right company such as yourself, the client, or other parties intervening in the project. Finally, you will see a list of all product flyers and other promotional material for products included in this offer. Of course, you can choose to have all those resulting files to be stored either on the Bidstruct server or on Google Drive or on SharePoint. So, how does this work? Let's have a more detailed look at the engine that sits in the heart of Bidstruct. The building block of Bidstruct is a product. A product typically has fields such as a price, a description, and a product category. But you can add any number of fields that you like. With the recurrency field, it is able to differentiate between one-time products such as an Apple or a recurring product such as an annual insurance or maintenance fee. Each product can have associated elements that are added to the final offer. These elements are text building blocks that can be merged to the final Word offer, PowerPoint slides to be added to the final presentation, project tasks to be added to the final project plan, and product leaflets to be added to the final documentation. Each time that this product is added to the offer, the associated building blocks in the right language will be added to the final offer. As with any other entity in the Bidstruct tool, you can add your own product fields. And everything is multilingual, so you can have the same text element but in several different languages. Now let's look at dependency formulas and relationships. First, you start with the configuration parameters. For each product, you can write a formula here in red that uses configuration parameters as an input. This formula specifies when, how much of which product need to be added. In this example, we are deploying an IVR voice portal solution. If in the configurator the user chose to add an IVR, the formula will tell Bidstruct that it needs to add an IVR server. You can also create the parent-child relationship between products. Child products will only be added if the parent has been added. In our case, we need deployment services. We need development services, for example, to do a phone banking application. And depending on the number of ports, we need port licenses. The IVR port licenses, back office integrations, and deployment services are childs of the IVR service product. The parent-child product structure can go into any level of depth. In this example, we add annual maintenance as child of the IVR port. The maintenance product is special in that its recurrency is set to 12 months, so it has to be paid every 12 months by your client. Here we also add a virtual product, in our case a virtual CPU. Such products don't actually exist, but help us with calculation. With cloud computing, you no longer need one server per application, but rather just need a certain CPU power depending on the expected workload. So let's add a certain number of vCPUs for this application. If I have multiple applications that each might require a certain number of virtual CPUs, then Bidstruct will calculate the total number of virtual CPUs for the whole project. Once it has the total number of CPUs, it will determine which server hardware is required for this workload, add the right number and type of operating systems, as well as the annual maintenance. So whether this product is real or virtual, you can build entire trees of product dependencies. Now, to summarize, the user configurates his system through a dynamic configurator, or he answers an RFP. Bidstruct then calculates which products are required for this bid. It will create a commercial quote, a write-up, a PowerPoint presentation, a project plan, as well as a list of product leaflets. You already have a CRM and ERP document management? No problem. Bidstruct was built with interoperability in mind. Before we develop a user interface, we develop application interfaces. Each user interface is automatically also an API, so anything that you can do with Bidstruct, you can also do via an API. Secondly, all our elements are built as open social gadgets. So if you have a web application that supports mashups and open social, we can plug in our elements to whatever tool you currently use. Thirdly, you can import and export to Excel and or XML files. For file management, if you don't want to host your documents on the Bidstruct server, we provide native support for SharePoint and Google Drive. Typical integrations are import of a client name, opportunity and offer from a CRM, export of the financial summary to the CRM, import of products from your vendors or from your own internal product list, export of commercial quotes to ERP or billing solutions, if you choose not to use the built-in free invoicing solution that is part of Bidstruct. Export of project tasks to project management tools such as Microsoft Project Server, Jira, or Asana. Export of annually recurring items to maintenance contracts managed by a ticketing solution. As deployment options, you can choose to have Bidstruct run on your own servers. We can also host a platform for you on servers here in Switzerland under Swiss jurisdiction, if you want to find a compromise between cost efficiency and privacy. If your company is internationally very distributed and you need rapid access and content delivery internationally, we can also offer hosting on a global infrastructure under US jurisdiction. Finally, we are currently programming to release Bidstruct in 2014 as an on-demand auto-provision service as a solution, software as a service solution. This will result in a significant cost reduction as compared to the dedicated instances. Ready to speed up your pre-sales process? Explore www.bidstruct.com. To be or not to be, that is no longer the question.